Hey everyone. Today we're talking about something I know a ton of you have been asking about: how to actually make money on TikTok when you don't live in the US. If you've been locked out, this is the explainer you've been waiting for. We're going to show you how to set up a US company to finally get paid. Let's dive in. Does this feel a little too real? You're grinding, making amazing content, your views are climbing, but then you try to join the Creator Rewards program and boom, you hit a wall. A giant geo wall, right? It's super frustrating, but trust me, you are not the only one dealing with this.
I mean, you've done all the hard work. You built the audience, you figured out the algorithm, but the very last piece of the puzzle, the thing that actually lets you get paid, is missing. And it's all because you don't have a US bank account or tax info. We are going to fix that today.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll dig into exactly why this geo block is a thing. Then, I'm going to give you the key to unlock it all: the US LLC. We'll go through this simple 3-step process to get it set up, show you how to connect it all to your TikTok, and finally, we'll cover the tax stuff so you can do it all by the book. Okay, so what's the real issue here? Why can't they just pay you? Well, it all comes down to money and rules. For their biggest programs, especially the Creator Rewards program, TikTok has to follow US financial laws. And that means they absolutely need US tax info and a US bank account from you to send those payments. Let's break down those roadblocks one by one. The Creator Rewards program? Hard stop. It requires US tax info. The TikTok Shop affiliate program? Yeah, you really need a US setup to get full access and make it work smoothly. Obviously, payouts require a US bank account. But the real killer for most people is the tax form, which is basically built for someone with a US Social Security number or SSN, which, you don't have.
But what if I told you there's a master key, a single tool that can unlock all of these doors at the same time? Well, there is, and it's called a US Limited Liability Company, or an LLC. It's a completely legal and honestly brilliant way to give yourself a real business presence in the US without ever having to live there.
Think of it this way. You, the creative person, live in your home country, but you can create a totally separate business, a legal entity that for all official purposes lives in the United States. That entity is your LLC, and it's going to be the foundation for your entire US creator business. So why is the LLC just so perfect for this? Well, first, it gets you a special US tax ID called an EIN. This is what you'll use instead of an SSN. Problem solved. With that EIN, you can then open a US business bank account completely online. That combo right there, it checks all of TikTok's boxes. But here's the absolute best part. For most international creators, your LLC pays 0% in US federal income tax. The money just passes through the company, right to you, so you can pay taxes on it back in your home country. It's incredible. Okay, I can see you're getting excited about this, but you're probably wondering, is this going to be super complicated to set up? And the answer is no. It really boils down to just 3 core steps. It's really this simple. Step 1, form the company. Step 2, get the tax ID number for it. And step 3, use those 2 things to open a business bank account. That's it. Let's walk through each one.
All right, step 1, actually creating the LLC. Now, you can do this in any US state, but a huge favorite for international founders is Wyoming. Why? The fees are super low. We're talking just $60 a year, and they have great privacy rules. And you don't have to figure out all the paperwork yourself. You use a service called a registered agent like Northwest, and they do everything for you. They give you a US address and file all the state documents.
Step 2 is getting your EIN. That stands for Employer Identification Number, but don't let the name confuse you. Just think of it as a social security number, but for your business. It's this 9-digit number that unlocks everything. Tax forms, bank accounts, you name it. And the great thing is, your registered agent service usually handles the application for you. They deal with the IRS, so you don't have to. So once your LLC is officially formed and you have that EIN number, you are ready for the final piece of the setup puzzle: opening your US bank account. And because we live in the future, you can do this 100% online right from your laptop, no matter where you are in the world. 2 of the absolute best and most popular choices for this are Mercury and Relay. Mercury is just fantastic for online businesses and creators, and they're great with international money transfers. Relay is awesome if you like to keep your money organized, because they let you open a bunch of different checking accounts for things like income, taxes, whatever. Both are built from the ground up for non-US founders to open accounts remotely. And I have to point this out because it's a huge deal. The cost to send an international wire from Mercury in US dollars? It's 0. Nothing. For a creator who's regularly moving money back home,
This saves you a ton of cash compared to old-school banks that might charge you $50 for every single transfer.
Okay, the foundation is built, you have a legit US company, you have a US tax ID, and you have a US bank account. Now for the really exciting part. Let's plug this whole system into TikTok and finally flip the switch on your monetization.
Okay, now this is a really important point, so listen close. You do not need to change your TikTok account into some weird business account. You keep creating content on your personal or creator account just like you always have. The magic happens behind the scenes. When TikTok asks for your tax and payment info, you're going to give them the details for your LLC, not your personal info.
Now here is a game-changing hack, especially for anyone who wants to get into affiliate marketing right now. Instead of waiting to hit some high follower count, you can go and create a TikTok seller account. Then, inside the Seller Center, you link your personal TikTok profile as a marketing account. This little move instantly gives your personal account the power to add product links to your videos, totally bypassing the normal follower rules. It's an amazing workaround.
So, when you get to that tax form page inside the TikTok app, don't sweat it. This is exactly what you're going to do. First, when it asks who you are, pick business or entity, not individual. Then, for the legal name, you type in the full name of your LLC. For the tax ID, you put in that shiny new EIN. Do not put an SSN or anything else there. And finally, for the address, just use the US address that your registered agent gave you. That's the combo that gets you approved.
Getting all this set up is a huge accomplishment, for sure, but it's not quite the end of the road. To keep this whole system working for you year after year, you just need to stay on top of a few simple annual tasks. Staying compliant is the key to making this a long-term success. So here's your annual checklist. First, you've got to file a quick report with the state. Again, in Wyoming, that's just a $60 fee. Second, you'll pay your registered agent their yearly fee, usually around $125. Third, and this one is super important, you must file a form with the IRS called Form 5472. It's just for information, you don't owe money on it, but the penalty for not filing it is massive, so do not forget this one. And finally, just a reminder, you pay the income tax on your earnings back home in your own country.
So as we start to wrap this up, I hope you see that what we've been talking about is so much more than just paperwork and opening accounts.
What you're actually doing here is giving yourself a ticket to the entire global creator economy. You're tearing down those annoying financial borders that were holding you back, and you're opening up a whole new world of opportunities that just weren't on the table before.
And really, that's the big question I want to leave you with. Once these barriers are gone, once you can finally get paid for your talent and your hard work, no matter where you live, what are you going to build? What will you create?